Hi, I'm Chuck Dorsett for Weaver Leather Craft Supply. Chrome versus veg, battle of the century, confusion everywhere. But it doesn't have to be. We're going to cut right through the middle of that because it's as simple as this. A hide is a hide is a hide. We're just tanning those hides differently. And each tannage has a certain set of characteristics that make it very unique and the difference between the two very visible. Now here's why we need to know this. Veg tan, love it, but here's the thing. Tanned in a certain direction, so great holster, but wouldn't make a great coat, vest, skirt, or maybe pair of pants. Chrome tans, same thing. Beautiful, rich color, supple feel, but it's not going to make a great holster because we have chromium salts in that tannage. That's going to react with the metal on the gun. So I've got a setup over here, got some gorgeous chrome tans set out. We're going to talk about those first, then we're going to jump over to my favorite, the veg tan, and here in no time you'll be a pro at the difference between veg and chrome. So let's talk some leather. All right, so let's talk chrome tan first because that's about 80% of the leather tan today is a chrome tan. But if you think about it this way, chrome tans are our upholstery and garment leathers. When you look at it that way, the division between veg and chrome kind of starts to make a little bit of sense. In our chrome tans, now we're talking purse and bag. In fact, gorgeous purse and bag, but also briefcase, backpack, duffel, clothing. This is a briefcase. Now, I've used a buff finish chrome 3 to 4 ounce exterior. I've lined that with a standard chocolate suede, and I've even used a decorative 2 to 3 ounce very supple leather to make that beautiful Mexican basket weave decoration. Now, chromes, no end to the possibilities because of our colors, our suppleness, and our prints. I've got some colors laid out here. Now, here's the thing, with our suedes, this is only half the colors we carry. And what's funny about that, suede is just one small corner of the big picture in chromes. But again, our gorgeous colors, rich, beautiful, supple feel, that is just what I'm looking for. I'd love to use a chrome as an exterior, as a liner, but like this sporran, I love to use the chrome as a decorative as well. That makes a beautiful piece when you combine the two leathers. Now, a couple more facts about chrome. What we need to watch out for, high chromium salts. We determined somewhere in the mid-1800s that we can tan with chromium salts. Here's the problem though, those react with metals. So I don't want to use a chrome on a holster or a knife sheath because that's going to attack the metal of both. But rich colors, supple feel, that's the end result of a chrome tanned leather. Now, one more thing. You've noticed probably chrome tans are about a third or even half the price of veg tans. Well, that's the thing, because it's going to take about 2 days to tan a chrome, but almost 30 days in some cases to tan a quality veg tan hide. All right, so chrome tan, upholstery garment. That gives you a great view of that division. But now, let's step over to veg tan. And here's the funny thing. I always say leather is just a big empty canvas. But the funny thing with veg, we get to make the canvas too. All right, so I'm going to take a quick minute, move this aside. We're going to bring out some veg tan samples, and we're going to jump into my favorite leather. All right, we are set up and ready to talk about veg tan, and I love the characteristics here. But first off, let's kind of talk about the leather. Oldest tannage. We really don't know how long we've been tanning leather. They recently unearthed a tannery in Pompeii, totally recognizable. Greek urns with inscriptions of tanneries, again, recognizable. The recipe for veg tan has changed very little over millennia because it's natural elements. You've probably heard of oak bark or oak tanning. It's all natural elements. In fact, you can make tannic acid out of acorns from your yard. It takes a lot of acorns, but you can do it. Here's the thing though, veg tan over chrome, chrome's 1 to 4 to 5 ounce, maybe give or take. Veg tan, 1 ounce up to 37 ounce leather. Now I don't know what that's good for, but that is one serious thick piece of leather. Now, here's the thing with veg. I love the characteristics. First off, we can stamp it. We can wet that top grain. We can stamp that with a tool, and that stamp, when this dries, will retain every detail. It's going to return just to the look that you started with. Okay, so stamping. Now let's bump up into carving, because again, we can wet that top grain. Now, side characteristic here. I've added my groove lines. Chrome's not going to do that, but I can add a groove line for either a decorative line or a stitch line. Secondly, I can bevel front and back, slick that with water or gum tragacanth, and that edge is going to be a beautiful rounded burnished edge, very high gloss. But we're going to take that a step further. Now this is a project I'm working on, so you can tell it's even still a little bit wet. But now I'm using a swivel to cut my lines, a bevel, and a backgrounder. That is just going to be a gorgeous design. So let's add some dye to that. Nice, rich, deep oil dye black with a blue, a cobalt acrylic paint, and an atom wax over the top. And I'm going to line that with one of our electric blue suedes. Will that not be a gorgeous outcome? Still a little stuck on whether I'm going to go with a bright white stitch line or a deep black stitch line. All right, so let's step into another characteristic, dyeing. Now I can't honestly say we're going to get those beautiful, bright, rich yellows, greens, purples, and reds that we will with the chromes, but we certainly can get gorgeous true colors with dyes. Now right here, there is a mix of oil dyes. There's a beautiful clean orange. There's our reds, greens, blues, and gorgeous browns. Now here's the thing. Look how consistent that leather dyes. And you'll notice here, gloss, no. This is just flat dye, and that is with an atom wax. Just makes that color pop, doesn't it? So yes, we can get relatively decent colors dyeing our veg. All right, one more characteristic. And this is one of my favorites because we're molding, we're forming. Great project. This is simple fox mask, 3 to 4 ounce veg tan leather. All I've done, wet it, mold it. That's an oil dye with an atom wax top coat and simply acrylic paint. What a cool project. That project is a lot of fun. It looks great in the kids' room as well. All right, let's bump up to a little heavier molding. This is cool. A little creepy, but kind of cool. So I've got a 3 to 4 ounce veg. I've wet that and I've formed that over one of the styrofoam wig heads, right? Look at that great detail. Now I could have worked this further, get a little more detail, but here's the thing. The lighter the weight, the more detail in the mold. The heavier weight, the less detail, but the more durability. So, those are the characteristics of veg tan. One more thing though, and this is important because there's a major misconception out there that veg tan is only the natural veg tan. Well, it's not. In fact, this is an English bridle, also a veg tan. But in veg tan, colors, number of colors available in holster leather, strap leather, harness leather, bridle, sole bend. So all veg tan is not necessarily natural. Some can be dyed. So I hope this gives you every bit of information you need. Hope I've answered every question on veg versus chrome. Good luck with your projects.